looking forward to today?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm always, even though I retired years ago, I'm on the edge of my seat whenever the start lights are up, and I feel as if I'm in the cockpit with them.
I was half expecting you to just be sitting there wearing a helmet. And I wouldn't really know who you were at all.
Yeah, just explain for us, Perry, how big the Grand Prix is, the British Grand Prix, not just in the Formula One calendar, but also in terms of British sports events.
It's one of the very few that have got this kind of historical legacy because clearly there have been many new tracks added across the last 15, 20 years, but Silverstone has always been there. So it's got that kind of pride of place, that history. And to the British drivers, as Nigel Mansell once said, it kind of adds an extra half a second to you, knowing that the crowd are out there supporting you. So it's a big thrill. But Silverstone is a really big and fast circuit. So we're expecting some great overtaking opportunities.
You must have driven it, right?
Oh, yeah, I've raced there many times in different formula, all the way through to Formula One.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, let us introduce you to Aidan McGee, our sports guy. I don't know, have you two met before at all?
No, we've not met. But, Perry, I wanted to ask you, I just mentioned a few moments ago that it just looked to me as if Lewis Hamilton was carrying a little bit of a hangover into this season, which is why it's taken a long time to literally get into gear, if you pardon the pun. I know he's had problems with the car as well. What do you think about that? Do you think he's finding his range now?
You know something? It's a contentious one because I, honest to God, think the same as you. I actually do, because Lewis is a brilliant racing driver. Is full of passion, and the decision, which I think and many others think was unbelievably unfair at the end of last year, robbed him of his 8th world title. And I think that did have a real psychological and emotional blow. But you know, Lewis is a hard nut. You have to have a strong head in this game, and he's probably getting over it now. But it's not been helped, as you mentioned earlier, by the technical difficulties the Mercedes team have run into with their aerodynamic problems. But so maybe Lewis is now getting into his stride. But more than anything, you've got to get that car working, because in this game, it's all about incredibly fine margins. And if the car's off by a little bit, you're really in trouble.
Does blame for that lie with the engineering team?
Well, it's engineering, but to a large degree, you're kind of hostage over the winter because you've got all these concepts and you create a design. And once you've got that design, you know, if it's a really big design, as Mercedes come in with, I don't want to get too technical here, but they've gone in for no side pods, but they've got enormous downforce. That's the air pushing the car at speed down onto the track. But what they've got is that the car keeps hitting the floor, which then stops the airflow underneath the car, and that chokes the airflow, which means there's no more downforce from that bit. So the car comes back up and it springs, then it gets downforce again, then it goes back down, then that chokes the airflow and it goes back up. Do you see what I mean? So it's got this pogoing effect, which we call porpoising, and that is not good for the car or for the tyres or for grip. So and also physically, it is a killer for the drivers. It's really been hurting them badly.
So that sounds like a major design flaw.
Well, it is, but they're trying to engineer it out. Many of the teams out there have run into the same problem with these new regulations for this year. So there's so many different things you can do, but Mercedes have struggled, as brilliant as they are, they have struggled to actually find out what this problem is. If it rains, and as we're seeing a little bit from Max doing a very dainty 360 in qualifying, if it rains, believe it or not, that'll help them because it will slow the cars down and you won't get that such violent porpoising. But this is what Mercedes and many other teams have been trying to overcome.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.